Let's jump right into this explainer and unpack the hidden, high-stakes biological mechanisms driving literally one of your most primal urges: thirst. It's a feeling we all know, right? It can completely dominate your thoughts when you're out on a hot day or after a heavy workout. But the actual science behind how your brain detects that need and drives you to fix it, it's nothing short of a high-tech biological detective story. So let's start with a fascinating mystery that happens to us almost every single day. You take a big sip of water and your thirst vanishes instantly. But why? Think about it. How does your brain know you're quenched and safe if that water hasn't actually reached your bloodstream yet? Section 1. The baseline, the body's water map. To understand how our brain actually solves this mystery, we first have to map out where our body's fluid actually lives on a normal day. And honestly, it's pretty surprising. A massive 2/3 of our water is locked away safely inside our cells. That's the intracellular compartment, which leaves the remaining 1/3 on the outside, just circulating around in our blood plasma, the interstitial fluid bathing our tissues, and our spinal cord fluid. But water doesn't just sit statically in those compartments. It's constantly moving back and forth through highly specialized protein channels called aquaporins. And this whole system is strictly guided by osmosis. You probably know the basics, but osmosis is essentially the biological rule of law, where water always travels through a membrane toward a region with a higher concentration of solutes. So basically, water always chases salt. This delicate balance is absolutely crucial. I mean, if it gets thrown off, our cells could physically shrivel up, or our blood pressure could drop so low our heart might actually fail. Section 2, Threat 1, the salty threat, or osmometric thirst. Because the stakes are so high, your brain acts as a command center, constantly scanning for danger. The first danger is what happens when you crush a whole bag of salty potato chips. How does your brain detect all that sudden salt? Well, meet your osmoreceptors. These are literal stretch-sensitive water balloons located deep in a brain region called the lamina terminalis. Remember our rule? Water always chases salt. So when you eat salty food, the salt concentration outside your cells suddenly spikes, and that excess salt literally pulls water right out of these osmoreceptors. As they lose water, they physically shrink, and that mechanical change alters their neural firing rate, making them essentially scream at your brain for water. And these microscopic sensors are placed perfectly. They're concentrated in specific regions, the OVLT and the SFO, which basically act as our body's rogue chemical testers. Why rogue? Because unlike most of your brain, these specific areas actually lack a typical blood-brain barrier. They're totally exposed. This strategic vulnerability allows them to directly taste the saltiness of your blood in real time, feeding split-second data straight to command. Section 3. Threat 2, the empty threat, or volumetric thirst. But what happens when you don't just consume excess salt, but actually lose total fluid volume, say from bleeding or intense sweating during a marathon? Here we can clearly contrast our two main threats. We've got the cellular, salty threat detected by shrinking osmoreceptors in the brain, right? But with a volumetric threat, you aren't just shifting water around. You are losing actual measurable fluid volume. This causes a dangerous, rapid drop in your overall blood pressure. And wildly enough, this drop isn't detected in the brain at all. It's picked up by pressure-sensing baroreceptors located all the way down in your heart and major blood vessels. When those baroreceptors detect that terrifying drop in pressure, they immediately sound the alarm, and your kidneys launch this incredibly complex, urgent rescue mission called the renin-angiotensin cascade. First, the kidneys release the enzyme renin, which sets off a rapid chain reaction in the blood, eventually creating a total powerhouse molecule called angiotensin II. This molecule is a powerful vasoconstrictor. It aggressively forces your blood vessels to constrict just to keep your pressure up and keep you conscious. And even crazier, angiotensin II travels all the way up and directly targets that exposed SFO region in your brain to trigger an immediate, overwhelming thirst, plus an intense craving for salt to help rebuild your lost blood volume. Section 4. The rescue, the brain's counterattack. With these severe threats identified, it's time for the master controller, the hypothalamus, to step in. It deploys a crucial three-pronged hormonal defense system to conserve whatever precious fluids you have left. First, vasopressin is released, telling your kidneys to stop producing urine immediately. Keep that water inside. Second, aldosterone commands the kidneys to aggressively hoard sodium, which keeps water trapped in the extracellular space where your blood needs it. And third, atrial natriuretic peptide, or ANP, which normally promotes fluid loss, is actively suppressed. Your body basically goes into total lockdown mode to protect its vital fluid reserves. But an internal lockdown isn't going to save you on its own. You actually need to find new water. This is where your lateral hypothalamus comes in to incite a somatic motor response. What's fascinating here is that thirst isn't just some abstract feeling. It's a demanding biological command. Your brain literally hijacks your motor system, forcing your muscles to get up, walk to the sink, and find a drink to ensure your survival. Section 5. The resolution, the satiety illusion. Which brings us right back to our opening mystery. Why does drinking provide instant relief when the water hasn't actually reached your blood yet? Well, the magic number here is 20. It takes a massive 20 minutes for ingested water to navigate your digestive tract, reach your intestines, and fully rehydrate your bloodstream. Physically speaking, your body remains in a state of deep physiological dehydration and chemical threat long after you've put down your glass. Now, think about that 20-minute delay. If your brain kept demanding water for those entire 20 minutes while you waited for absorption, you would dangerously overdrink. We're talking a potentially fatal fluid imbalance where your cells swell up and literally burst. To beautifully prevent this disaster, your body uses anticipatory satiety. As you drink, your stomach and intestines monitor the osmolality of the incoming fluid. They then use the vagus nerve to fire off a rapid, anticipatory, all-clear signal straight up to your brain. And here is the final brilliant physiological trick. The moment water hits your stomach, functional MRI scans show that activity in your anterior cingulate cortex, which is the specific brain area responsible for the nagging, highly unpleasant sensation of thirst, it just plummets. Your brain creates an illusion. It artificially satisfies your conscious urge to drink, so you immediately stop gulping. Meanwhile, deep down, your lamina terminalis remains quietly active, patiently waiting for your bloodstream to catch up in the background. Which leaves us with a fascinating, kind of unsettling final thought to ponder about this incredible machine we call the human body. If your brain can completely trick you into feeling satiated a full 20 minutes before you're actually hydrated, what other hidden illusions is your body using to control your reality right now? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Until next time, stay curious.